Mao Zedong, the Chinese Civil War, the formation of modern China, and the establishment of the People's Republic of China. After the fall of the Qing dynasty, which had ruled over China, Taiwan, and modern-day Mongolia, the country had fallen into factions. However, in 1912, Chiang Kai-Shek founded the Republic of China, which would gain power and international recognition as the legitimate government of China. The Communist Party of China was founded in 1921 by Mao Zedong, which would go to war with the Nationalist Party after the White Terror event in which the Nationalists purged the members of the party. The Civil War was put on hold for a while to defend the nation from the Japanese Empire. After the Japanese imperial forces surrendered in 1945, the Chinese Civil War resumed. However, after defending World War II, the ROC's forces were heavily weakened, and other allies came to assist them on their efforts. However, on the other side, the communist forces had been gaining the support of the people, as well as other communist nations like the Soviet Union. In 1949, the nationalists fled to Taiwan after their support of the people had essentially diminished, and they've lost all holdings in China. Today, they still, constitutionally at least, claim to be the one true China. However, the Kuomintang parties, who elected their representative for the president of Taiwan, Ing-Wen, proposes that Taiwan should be its own nation, and in no way China. Though the PRC has laid out honorable promises in its constitution, they have failed to uphold them, such as in Article 34, Chapter 2 of their constitution states all citizens of the People's Republic of China who have reached the age of 18 have the right to vote and stand in election regardless of ethnic status, race, sex, occupation, a family background, religious belief, education, property status, length of residence, except persons deprived of those political rights. However, the PRC not only ignores the voting rights in much of the acts, much more like a dictatorship than democracy, but it actually discriminates against ethnicities within their borders, such as Tibetans and Yorkers, as well as the religions that those ethnicities commonly hold, such as Tibetan Buddhism and Islam. As many people would know, the PRC's government is run under a one-party system, the party being the Chinese Communist Party. All government control is within the party's control. Although there are multiple parties in China, the rest are simply puppets of the communists. The Chinese People's Liberation Army, formerly known as the Chinese Red Army, isn't owned by the Chinese government, but the Chinese Communist Party. The group was founded on August 1st, 1927, during the first part of the Civil War before it was put on hold. The One China policy is an agreement between the ROC and the PRC that there is only one China, but the two governments currently claiming to be the sole leader of the nation with intention to reunify one day. However, similar to Korea, neither country can decide who should rule under a reunified China. The ROC becomes less interested in Chinese reunification ever since the recent election. The Great Leap Forward was a movement by Mao Zedong to industrialize China to superpower status between 1958 and 1960. The movement actually emphasized manual labor rather than mechanical, as well as increasing agricultural production. However, this plan failed and left 20 million dead across the country. The Cultural Revolution was an event led by Mao Zedong which destroyed thousands of years of Chinese history, changed the and formed the language as a form of censorship, as well as the deaths of hundreds of people. The revolution, mainly led by China's youth, their goal being to get rid of all old ideas of their forefathers and usher in a new age. 1.5 million people were killed in the process. The PRC began to show its newly gained power through aggression. China found themselves becoming involved in both the Vietnam and Korean Wars. They also started to vastly expand their influence across the world. The country rose to become a world power in international trade. On 1977, the PRC was recognized as a legitimate government of China by the USA under President Richard Nixon. Mao Zedong had been suffering from Parkinson's disease and died in the Chinese capital Beijing at age 82, September 9, 1997. Although board of President Mao Zedong left this world as one of the most influential men of not only Chinese history but world history, the nation he founded continues to be an important figure in world politics and trade. For that, his legacy lives on for better or worse.